¿Cómo está? Bienvenido a
How
la
are you?
jugada de
Welcome
nuestro
to
canal,
our
la
move of
jugada
our
estratégica y también
channel.
crítica de
It's
Venezuela.
critical
De
and it's
todo, casi todo,
controversial
habla
of
Vladimir
almost
Vladimir Putin
everything.
en su media hora de
President
prensa
Trump,
anual. Este
President
jueves
Putin
volvió a
has
comenzar
spoken in
en
his
el
press
Centro de
conference.
Comercio
He did
Internacional
it in the
y acudieron más
International
de
Commerce Center,
275
and over
periodistas en representación de medios
800,000
nacionales y
um,
extranjeros. ¿A qué temas
reporters went to
centraron el
see it. What were
intercambio de
the main
preguntas y respuestas
topics
con el líder del
that
Kremlin en esta
he
desafiante
focused on?
convocatoria que ha caracterizado su
What have been
visión
the
geopolítica
characteristics
este
of the
año que concluye?
geopolitical
¿Cómo anda
projection
Rusia
that he has
también
had?
puertas adentro?
How is
Desplegamos el tablero,
Russia
inicia la
in
jugada.
house? Let's begin analyzing all of this.
Le invito a comenzar
Let's
escuchando parte de
begin
las declaraciones del
speaking some of the
presidente Putin.
declarations of President
En este
Putin
momento de la
at
jugada
this.
nos vamos a centrar en su visión
We're
de
gonna
país
we're
y
gonna try
las
to focus on his
tensas
vision of the
relaciones con la
country
vecina Ucrania.
and
En
the
este
tense
que se remontan a
situations with
cuestiones
Ukraine.
históricas que no
These
conocemos.
this situation goes way back in
Digan lo que
history.
digan de mí, no tiene
Whatever they
ninguna
say about me,
importancia
it
en
makes no
comparación con las
difference
tareas fundamentales
in
que Rusia
comparison
necesita
to
resolver.
everything that Russia has to solve.
Como sabemos,
As
durante
we
1000 años
know,
de historia,
for
nuestro
1,000
país
years,
fue un
our
estado
country
unitario
used to be a
estrictamente
unitarian
centralizado.
country that
Esto
was
propuso
strictly
Vladimir
centralized.
Ilich Lenin. No propuso ni
This was
siquiera una
made by Lenin.
federación,
This was
sino
not even
una
done by a
confederación.
federation, but a
Estimó que los grupos
confederation.
étnicos estaban
Uh,
vinculados a territorios
Apparently,
específicos y se les concedió
the
el derecho a
territories were given
separarse de la
to
Unión
some
Soviética.
parts, and
Los territorios se
they
dividieron
were
de
given
tal
the
manera que
permission
no
to
correspondían
leave
y
the
actualmente
USSR.
tampoco corresponden a los territorios tradicionales de
Now,
esas etnias. Así,
they don't even have
aparecieron
these
de
traditional
inmediato
etnias,
puntos
so
dolorosos. Estos
there are very
puntos
harmful
existen hasta
places.
hoy en día
These
entre
still
las antiguas
exist
repúblicas de
between
la Unión
the
Soviética e
Soviet
incluso dentro de
Union
la
and
Federación de Rusia.
the Russian Federation.
Se necesita un diálogo directo
It
sobre
is
el
necessary
Donbass.
to have
Hace falta.
a
Se ha
direct
anunciado recientemente
dialogue about
que
the
se
Donbass.
introducirán
It
algunos
has been
cambios
said there is
relacionados
going to
con la
be a change
descentralización.
with the
Ok, bien. ¿Es
decentralization.
eso lo que se quiere?
So,
En
is this
lugar
what
de
we
los
want,
acuerdos de Minsk,
or
en
instead
lugar de
of
la ley
the
sobre el estatus
Mensa,
especial para
the
Donbass?
Mensa agreements, or the special law for Donbass?
A pesar de la construcción de nuevas infraestructuras como
Regardless
el Nord Stream 1
of the new infrastructure like Nord
mantendremos
Stream
el
1 and
tránsito del
2,
gas a través
we
de
will
Ucrania.
maintain
La pregunta ahora se plantea respecto
exportation
al volumen de ese tránsito del gas y el
uh,
tiempo en que se
through
pueda
the
completar
gas
este acuerdo.
pipeline.
Estaríamos listos para
We would be
suministrar gas
ready
a
to
Ucrania a
supply
una tasa de
gas to
descuento.
Ukraine
Ya he
at a
mencionado que
good
se podría
price. I
acordar
have
un
already
20
said
o
that
un
we could agree
25%
on
y
20
luego
or
sería
25%
posible reducir los
discount, and
precios
then we
para
can
el
reduce the
consumidor y
price
no aumentar las
and not
tarifas como
increase
Ucrania planea hacer desde el
the
1 de
prices
enero del
that
próximo
Ukraine
año.
plans
Creo
to
que
do
lograremos
from
llegar a un
January
acuerdo
1st.
y
I think we
estamos
can
en
reach an
vías de
agreement,
alcanzarlo.
and we are on that path.
¿Qué tal si ahora ubicamos
How about
geoespacialmente
if we
este
see
enorme país
where
que hoy es el centro de nuestro mundo?
Russia is geopolitically located?
Rusia,
Russia,
potencia antihegemónica, oficialmente denominada Federación Rusa,
originally
es un
called
país euroasiático
Russian
extendido
Federation,
por el
it's a
este de Europa
Eurasian
y todo el
country.
norte de Asia. Limita con
It
14
has
naciones, 2
limits
océanos
with
y 3
14
mares. Al
countries.
norte colinda con el océano
To the
Polar
north
Ártico,
with the
al
Polar
oeste
Arctic
con Noruega,
Sea,
Finlandia, Estonia,
then
Letonia,
Finland,
Bielorrusia,
Stoneland,
Ucrania y el Mar Negro.
Ukraine, and the
Al
Black
este
Sea.
con el océano
To the
Pacífico
east
y
with
al
the
sur
Pacific
con
Ocean,
Georgia, Azerbaiyán,
and to the
Kazajistán,
other way, the
Mongolia,
Kazakhstan,
China y Corea del
Mongolia,
Norte,
China,
con una
North Korea,
superficie de
with a surface
17.98.242
of
kilómetros cuadrados.
37,000
Rusia constituye la novena parte
square
del territorio
kilometers
y es el país más grande
of a
del mundo.
coast and
Posee una
17
extensa
million
línea
square
costera
kilometers.
de 37.653 kilómetros cuadrados. Rusia siempre ha tenido
Russia
una
has
fuerte
always had
influencia
a
geopolítica,
strong
primero en
geopolitical
tiempos del
influence,
imperio,
first in the time of
después
the
como
empire,
región
and then
dominante y más
as
grande
a
de la
dominating
y
region
luego
and
como
the
una
largest one in the
superpotencia
USSR.
reconocida tras la desaparición del campo socialista en Europa del Este. Su capital es Moscú,
Their capital
ciudad
is
que funge
Moscow,
como
the
pieza
city that
importante en
is
la economía y la
important
política del
part
país.
of the politics
Rusia
of the
posee las
country.
mayores
Russia
reservas de
possesses
recursos energéticos
the
y
largest
minerales
resource
aún sin
supplies
explotar en el
that are
planeta,
not
por
that
lo que
have
es
been
considerada
unexploited.
la mayor
So it
superpotencia
is
energética. Tiene además las
it is
mayores
considered
reservas
the
forestales y
largest
la cuarta parte del
resource.
agua dulce sin congelar en el mundo. Su
It
economía
has
ha
the
evidenciado uno de
the
los
fourth
mayores
part of the
crecimientos mundiales.
sweet water
Es
in
el
the
octavo
world.
país
It
por
is the
Producto
eighth
Interno
world with the
Bruto nominal,
largest
con el tercer
GDP,
presupuesto militar más grande
with
de
the
la
third
ONU.
military
Es también una
largest
de las
budget in the
5
world. It's
naciones
also one of the
reconocidas en
5
materia de
countries
armas nucleares y
recognized
posee
in
el
military
mayor arsenal
weapons. It
armamentístico.
has the
La
largest
Federación Rusa es uno de
armed
los 5 miembros
forces.
permanentes del Consejo de Seguridad de Naciones
Russia is
Unidas.
always one of
Forma parte del
the
y de la
permanent
Organización
seat
Mundial del Comercio.
of
En los últimos años
the
se ha
United
reflejado un
Security
aumento de la
Council of the United
influencia de
Nations.
Moscú en América Latina y el Caribe.
There has
Su
been
presencia
recently there
ha
has
estado
been more
definida por
influence
una
in Latin
mayor
America,
participación en
and now they
acuerdos
have had
estratégicos
more
económico-comerciales, por un lado,
relationship and
y en
commercial
materia de cooperación
relations
militar, por
and
otro.
military
Aunque Rusia no busca generar un
cooperation.
clima de
Although Russia
inestabilidad,
does not seek
desafiando
to find
militarmente a Estados Unidos,
instability by
sí
defying the
aboga por
United
romper con
States,
la
it
hegemonía
does
y el unilateralismo
strive to
occidental,
fight
fomentando
unilateralism
junto a China
and
las
fomenting
relaciones
through China
multilaterales en el mundo.
bilateral situations in the world.
Comenzamos entonces con la revisión de portales de prensa. Por ejemplo,
Okay, let's go to our newspaper.
Este 10 de octubre titulaba Los tres principales talones de
This
Aquiles
one
de la
says
OTAN en
the
un
three main
conflicto con
Achilles
Rusia.
heels of the NATO in conflict. They say that Russia has intensified its submarine activities to limits we've never seen in the past 20 years. These maneuvers, compared with the harshness of the Cold War, cause concern by the West. Although the investigation repeats the Russian hypothesis that Russia could be a threat to NATO. Their forces were made to curtail any effort on behalf of the they said that Russia does not threaten anybody and that all of their activities are just defensive and they are an answer to the United States that is a key member of NATO. Putin has seen that the latest years the US has applied some policy on Russia that are not fair.
Se aplican cada vez más sanciones que pueden considerarse ilegales desde el punto de vista del
From
derecho
that point of view, from international law, let's dismantle the basic law that has been constituting itself for the last years. Another headline of RT says Moscow, the last months have shown that there has been defeat in the Guaidó project. The spokeswoman of the Russian Chancellery said, Maria Zakharova, says that there are scandals of Juan Guaidó of high level. And he has recognized that just lately all of their interests have been revealed. In this context, the person has said, the spokesperson of Russia has called the opposers of Venezuela to recognize the reality and accept that Venezuela has only one leader, President Nicolás Maduro. I'm going to take advantage to suggest that you read this other article written by Alberto López Branch, published in Rebelión. It says, the country of Donald Trump, far from asphyxiating China and negotiating with the arbitrary measures, what they've done is to make a conjoint force. The frustration is now knocking on the White House doors because this has helped to foment. The experts say that these countries have development abilities that are coincidental that allow them to work together. And even over all of Eurasia. They also say that they are highly developed, and this can be translated in more investment in the upcoming years. The countries of Beijing and Moscow have said that they're going to defend the multilateralism, and they will seek to find a more open economy that will benefit most of the operations. What they say is that Trump, with all of the sanctions and threats, the only thing that he's done is to wake the dragon and the bear. I was recommending because Russia on the geopolitical spectrum. This is what we're going to be speaking about on our critical move. After listening to the balance of President Putin, we ask you, what place does Russia occupy in geopolitics? You have to interact with us. We'll be right back.
Innovation, science, the technological breakthrough, and its influence in society.
Viajeros del saber, el futuro está aquí.
Atomen. Monday, only on Telesur.
La cooperación ruso-china es un factor
The
importante.
Russian-Chinese cooperation is important for the international stability. This also includes the international law and creating a multipolar world. In fact, it has already been created. In terms of fair distribution, the Russian one is more fair than the United States one. This leads to change. The United States cannot be organized in a one-polar world. I already said it. I want to repeat it. Up until the end of the year, we are ready to expand the START Agreement 3. To all of our suggestions, there has been no answer. And if there is no START 3, there will be nothing we can do worldwide to stop climate change. Nobody knows why the reasons of climate change. We know that the history of the world, there have been periods of warming and cooling, depending on global process, the universe. The slight tilt in the world that rotates. It's very hard, if not impossible, to tell how the modern humanity is affecting the climate. How has the word of Putin been working here?
En el año 2000, Vladimir
In the
Putin
year
asumió
2000,
por primera vez la
Vladimir Putin
presidencia
took
de
over
Rusia, país que
the
en aquel entonces presentaba
president's
una
office.
situación económico-social. La economía era
The
controlada
economy
por un
back then
pequeño
was
grupo
controlled
de
by a
empresarios
small
cercanos a
country
Boris Yeltsin, en lo que se considera como la primera
of business
fase de la
people,
era
and this was the
postsoviética.
first
El PIB se había
post.
derrumbado un 30% y la recaudación de impuestos
Let's not
disminuyó un
forget that they had
25%. Con la llegada de
their
Putin al Kremlin, el
GDP
Estado
had
comienza a
lowered,
recuperar sus capacidades
and then
para
the
retornar a
people's
Rusia su
income
estatus de
too.
potencia mundial. El plan fue hacerlo a través del llamado sueño
So
de la Gran Rusia.
there are
Putin logró
options that are
consolidar
called
una
the Great
importante
Dream
estabilidad
of Russia. This is what they
macroeconómica. La
called
tasa de desempleo en el gigante
their
eslavo ha disminuido al 4,7%,
their mirror.
el mínimo histórico de la nación según el Servicio Federal de Estadísticas, Rosstat. El Banco Mundial ha
The World
señalado que
Bank
durante
has
los
said that
mandatos de
during the
Vladimir
mandate
Putin,
of
Rusia
Vladimir
se ha
Putin,
convertido
Russia
en la
has
sexta
become
economía
the
mundial en
sixth
términos
world
de calidad
economy
de
in
poder
terms of
adquisitivo.
parity
Los
of
salarios reales hemos
world
tenido un incremento del
at the acquisition of
2,5% anual y la
goods.
inflación se ha desacelerado. El desendeudamiento ha sido clave. En
The
2000, la Federación tenía una deuda externa de 138 mil millones de dólares que equivalía al 78% del PIB. Ya en 2015,
In 2015, these numbers had dropped. The gasoducts that transfer all of the oil are fundamental for Russia and all of the nuts that they have. Gazprom, that is the government controlled, is the largest one. The president, Alexei Miller, announced that they had the largest carbon cards in the world. Let's go to our first pause. Let's call on two of our guests for the analysis.
En Rusia desde su llegada a la presidencia hasta nuestros días. Voy a citar uno de los tweets que están circulando.
One of the tweets that are circulating after this press conference and during the press conference, and there have been several, like this one.
O sea, cómo Putin habló en esta rueda de prensa sobre el futuro
Putin spoke of the future of the pensions in Russia. So we said it at the beginning of our program.
De todo o de casi todo habla Vladimir Putin durante su acostumbrada rueda de prensa anual.
Vladimir Putin speaks of everything during his press conference. From Mexico, we have John Saxi Fernandez. He's an internationalist professor, and in Guatemala, it's Mr. Verganza, who is also a lawyer and an international analyst. Let's start with Minor, because John, we have him on the phone. Minor, what do you say that the conference that Putin has carried out? Well, first of all, I want to send a message of solidarity to all of your audience. And let's not forget, well, we can speak of everything or almost anything. And it's important to confront. It was important to confront what's going on, and it's important to see the pressures that they have and the transformation they have. To start having this single polar world. Putin did expand on complex questions. He said how to answer the world that is coming, and what they were supposed to. How has Russia been able to withstand? I'm also speaking about economic power, because China has taken more years and it's taken over the land. What are the policies that Putin has implemented along this period in his position to be able to consolidate as a solid country? Well, the Russian Federation that we know now and although they don't have the capacities and the negotiation with the gas, with the European Union, with the Russian Federation has made the leap that they needed. An economy that little by little keeps on increasing the price of the pop-tarts, and this economic bonanza that begins, this has improved things already. And I did not expect your question to be answered to answer it, in the sense that the Russian economy has improved.
Cómo no, le voy a
Well,
formular
of
la pregunta
course,
relacionada
let
con China
me
más
ask
adelante
you the
porque me va a dar
question
pie
of China
incluso a
further
la
on.
otra parte del análisis con nuestro invitado a piso, ya desde una perspectiva más
Let's
geopolítica.
go
Pero
to our
siguiendo por
other
la geopolítica con naciones vecinas, Minor,
guest.
si me lo
Minor,
permite, voy a
I
dialogar
don't
a
know if you
continuación
can
con John,
wait for
que
us
decía
until we
anteriormente,
come
lo
back.
tenemos a través de
Let's
la línea
talk with
telefónica,
John. We
le
have him
reitero la
on the
bienvenida a
telephone
nuestra
line.
abogada crítica. Las tensiones, John, con la
The
vecina
tensions with the
Ucrania no
neighboring
han sido
Ukraine
históricamente fáciles.
has
Incluso
not
el
been
presidente
historically
Putin
easy.
hacía un acercamiento
So President
histórico
Putin
justamente desde la URSS de Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, cómo se fue
made a
configurando esta
timeline
Unión de
on
Repúblicas
how
Socialistas
this
Soviéticas, el
Republic
reparto de
of
territorio, la
Socialist
distribución para
Republics
ser
came to
más
be.
diplomático en el decir. Y hemos llegado hasta el día de hoy
And
con
up
una
until
Ucrania
now,
que
we have a
prácticamente está
Ukraine
dividida.
that
Una
is
parte
divided
que
practically,
aboga
a
por
part
ser
that is
leal a
trying to
Kiev con
be
intereses
loyal to
occidentales
Kiev,
y la parte, digamos, más del este
and the
que
other one is
se
that
siente más prorrusa. Ajá.
more
Es
Western.
un tema con el que ha
This is a
tenido que
topic
venir
with which
lidiando la administración Putin también
the
durante estos años y al que le dedicó unos minutos
Minister
en esta
of,
rueda de prensa, John.
of Electricity has already said the reasons.
Importante entender el sentido histórico y la importancia
And now we
que
have
tiene en
a
términos
historical
de evitar,
importance
riesgos
to
existenciales
avoid the existential
como los de
risks,
una
such
guerra.
as to
Y en
start a
eso,
war.
la política estratégica y exterior que ha desarrollado
And in
Putin
this sense, the strategy that Putin
en
has
los
developed
últimos años
in these past
es
years
de extraordinaria importancia
is of extraordinary
para
importance
la especie humana.
for
Está
the
evitando
human
grandes
for the
conflictos
human
y tiene una
peace,
mente
and
bien centrada
he is
desde
very
el
well
punto de
centered and
vista
focused.
histórico. Lo que hemos escuchado en términos
What we
de
heard,
dos grandes retos existenciales. Me
there are
voy a
two
referir al
existential,
primero, que es el de la situación estratégica internacional
and the
con
first one is,
Estados Unidos.
what does this
Porque
international international
además del gran progreso
what does the international
económico que ha
shapes
logrado,
say?
Maneja con Estados
And what they
Unidos
do is that they're managing
el
with the United States
95% del
5%.
nuclear
They are negotiating with
desplegado en
Rome.
el mundo. De tal manera que es una potencia
So it's
a
a
nivel estratégico de primer nivel. Y afortunadamente ha tenido un mandato de parte de Putin
and there has had
extraordinaria importancia.
a mandate on behalf
Y
of
lo voy
Putin
a
that is extremely
ejemplificar
important.
Con una nota que apareció en febrero de
And this bunch appeared in
1997
1995.
y lo publicó el editor del New York Times, en que el escritor dice,
The
que,
writer
lo voy a
says,
citar,
I'm going to quote
porque es muy importante,
because it's very important.
dice, la
He says the
expansión de
expansion
la OTAN
of NATO
sería el error más
would be
fatal
the largest
de la
and most fatal
política
mistake
exterior de Estados Unidos en la posguerra
in
fría. Tal
the
decisión
post-war era.
puede empujar la
Such a
política
decision may push
exterior
the foreign
de
policy
Rusia
of Russia
en direcciones que decididamente no serían de nuestro interés. Fin de la
Voy a basarme
I
en
quote,
esa cita que
I
usted
close my
acaba
quote.
de poner en el conocimiento público para volver al tema ucraniano. Incluso decía Putin en esta conferencia de prensa, se necesita un diálogo
He
directo
even said we
sobre el
need a
Donbass.
direct dialogue on the
Hace
Donbass.
falta. Se ha anunciado
This is,
recientemente
it's
que se
recently
introducirán algunos cambios
said there are going
relacionados
to be
con
some
la descentralización. Pues bien, decía
some
Putin,
information
es
on
que eso es lo que
dialogues.
quieren, en lugar de los
So,
acuerdos de Minsk, en lugar de la ley sobre el estatus especial para Donbass.
Putin
¿En qué
says, what do you
medida, y
want, a
aquí la pregunta para
dialogue or
usted,
do you
John,
want a tax?
¿en qué medida se ha
So to
convertido
what
Ucrania en la
attempt
piedra angular de esa disputa entre la OTAN y Rusia?
has this been a
Fíjese
stepping stone?
usted, simplemente me importa mucho lo
Well, I'm very
planteado
much
por
concerned
Putin en los dos riesgos existenciales planetarios. Primero, el riesgo de una tercera guerra
First,
mundial,
there is this threat
que ha
of
sido
a third world
advertido
war
por ese lector del New York Times,
that has
que es
been
nada
alerted
menos
by
que
the
George
World War
Kennan,
III.
el principal arquitecto de toda la ideología que se montó de Guerra Fría. Él es el gran arquitecto
And he is
de
the great
eso,
architect of this
y
Cold
sale
War.
diciendo
And he says,
en esta observación
and
que
these
le manda al editor,
observations,
que el error más fatal que ha
that the
cometido
greatest
Estados
mistake
Unidos
that the United States
es
has
la
made
expansión de la OTAN
is
a las
NATO's
fronteras
expansion to the
de
border
Rusia.
to Russia.
Obviamente que la situación
Obviously,
en
with the
Ucrania,
situation
a
in
partir
Ukraine,
de febrero de 2014,
after
en
4
un
o'clock,
golpe de
the world
Estado articulado por la diplomacia de fuerza de Estados Unidos,
has also gone back to a smaller one. And they say that
en esta observación
they
que
go
está
back to this
haciendo
observation
Kennan,
that is
que es fundamental.
said, and it's
Él está
fundamental.
diciendo, eso es un gran error.
They're saying this is a great
Entonces,
mistake.
ahí hay una crítica al unilateralismo agresivo de Estados Unidos. No,
And now this
monopolaridad, esa
explains
no existe.
the,
Pero sí
the aggressiveness
existe
of the
la
United States.
unilateralidad
Of course, there is
agresiva.
unilateralism that is
Hace
aggressive.
una crítica a esa unilateralidad agresiva y afortunadamente,
And
del
fortunately,
otro lado,
on the other
el
hand,
Occidente tiene un interlocutor de mente lúcida que hace todo lo posible por el manejo de ese tipo
and
de
this organization
conflictividad
is trying to have
sin que
control
se
over this
salga de
conflict
control.
without letting it
Entonces,
get out of their hands. So,
todos los acuerdos entre Gorbachev y Bush padre se vinieron abajo. Es
and
decir,
all
a
of the,
Kennan no le hicieron caso.
well, not everything that he said was put in place. By 98, the Senate of the United States
aprueba la
approved the expansion of NATO,
hacia las fronteras rusas. Y
and
afortunadamente,
fortunately,
en ese contexto tenemos la articulación de una política
we have the
exterior
architecture of
rusa
having
que
discretion
evita
of Russia
una intensificación bélica continuamente.
that will have a stronger
Entonces, lo que
military
tenemos ahí
scope.
es
So what we
un
want,
articulador de primer nivel evitando conflictividad entre las grandes potencias. ¿Me explico?
do I explain myself?
Se explica muy bien.
Yes,
Claro
it's
que
very
sí, se explica
clear.
muy bien. John, muchas gracias.
Thank you,
Vamos a
John.
ir
Let's
cerrando
go
esta
closing
fase
this
del
phase.
análisis en la jugada crítica con Maynor. Le había prometido, Maynor, formularle la pregunta relacionada con China.
Let me ask you
sobre lo que
questions
usted
about China.
quiere reflexionar junto a la audiencia de nuestra jugada. ¿Cómo ve
How
esta
do you
asociación
see this
estratégica, porque así se ha
strategic
planteado,
alliance
entre
that has
estos dos
been set like
gigantes,
this between
el
these two
gigante
giants,
euroasiático y el gigante asiático?
both China and Russia?
Bien, lo que me parece a mí es que la posibilidad de que se dé
Well, I think that this day-to-day
flujo económico producto de la venta de gas ruso a
that is
China,
product of the selling of China
vamos a
to
tener
China.
una capacidad económica muy grande en Rusia.
There
Esta
will be a
capacidad
very strong
económica
capacity in
va a
Russia.
permitir el desarrollo de más empresas y de allí que es
And from then,
importante
it's
el
very
compromiso
important that
que
we all,
la Federación Rusa ha hecho para
of the
implicarse
Russian
dentro del
Federation, to
acuerdo
start
de
to
París,
confront.
porque evidentemente va a
Because
haber
obviously,
una explosión
there's going to
productiva
be
en
a
la
productive
Federación Rusa
explosion
derivado de esa gran cantidad de economía que va a recibir precisamente del pago de China por estas gigantescas cantidades de gas que van a llegar
for this
desde
huge
la
amounts of
Federación
gas
Rusa
that the
hacia
Russian
China.
Federation would take to
Estamos
China.
pensando entonces ver todavía una mejora en las condiciones de vida de los rusos, producto de que
And now
ha
what we
habido,
can
como
see is that
usted
there
lo
has
pudo
been
ver, Ray, en la meta, en la entrevista
In the previous interview, we see that President Putin, he's received some questions on how he can improve the economic conditions. For example, in the health sector, they were strong and hard questions, but President Putin said that these conditions are going to change because
de la Federación Rusa derivado de esta ampliación del comercio del gas. Yo decía y hacía el puente ahí de que el presidente Putin y la Federación Rusa
that Putin and the Russian Federation have incorporated to the
con el objeto de respetar precisamente estos procesos productivos
and what they want is to protect these processes. I think that the Chinese-Russian alliance will mark the multipolar world. At least let's see what they are coming up with. And all of this could lead to a more harmonious relationship, and it could decrease the tensions that could lead to a nuclear war. It's so easy to find a Toyota, and this is all I can say from the standpoint of what will happen in the Russian Federation. And for now, this gasoduct will transport everything through Europe and then all the way to Russia. Well, as we saw, the United States doesn't like these associations. Thanks for both of you.
Al regreso estaré dialogando con alguien que nuevamente nos visita, es miembro de nuestra familia prácticamente. Pero
when we're back, we will be analyzing the position with a friend of ours. Well, now I want to propose that you participate on our question after listening to the balance offered by President Putin in their press release. We ask ourselves, what place does Russia occupy in the world? We'll be right back. Before going to our analysis, let's see how Russia is on the world framework. Ever since Putin is leading Russia, the country has a leading role in the geopolitics of the world. Their ties with China have gone stronger, and this is showed by the 30 meetings between both presidents in 6 years. This means a meeting almost every 2 months between Beijing and Russia. In 2005, both countries have carried out military trainings, and in the last decade, the relationship have increased. China is the main associate of Russia, and they have projects such as the ones that try to promote the Siberia and the Northern Pole. There has been a firm position in supporting the government of Venezuela. In this sense, Sergei Lavrov and Delcy Rodriguez has been clear to say that the Kremlin supports the government of Nicolás Maduro to impede the destabilization of the region. In the Security Council of the United Nations, Russia vetoed a resolution presented by the United States that recognized the self-proclaimed Juan Guaidó. Russia has also great relationships with Iran and Turkey, and there is a coalition with them, and the Persian country is key to defeat the Islamic State, supported by the U.S. and the State of Israel. But let's keep on investigating on this geopolitics of the huge Eurasian country. Let's continue. The relationship between Russia and the Ukraine have been formalized after the USSR was dissolved. They've had up and lows. The region of Donbass and especially Crimea have special importance for the Russian Federation because they guarantee the commercial and military control of the Black Sea. This is fundamental for the presence in Europe. These territories were part of Russia until 1946. After there was the dissolution of the USSR, Ukraine was being used as a base, as a military base. But after the Revolution of Colors, led by Western forces that put out Western Gorich, they broke all of the agreements. In 2014, there was a referendum with 96% of Crimea approved being part of Russia. In September of the same year, there was a protocol of Minsk. This had 12 agreements that would be reduced force, exchange prisoners, special status for the Donetsk and Luhansk, having regional elections, and the borders with the Donbass. The Russian-Ukraine relationship have had confrontations because Russia says that Ukraine is being used by other countries to threaten the integrity of Moscow. This was a piece that we wanted to show you before, but my guest said it's a good video because I can reflect on that. We're going to speak with Ángel Real. Well, listen, you are more than welcomed. I come so frequently here that I want a contract now. No, it's just a matter of warmth, and I feel so well here. And the thing is that we don't want to impose our ideas. We just want to show our perspective and share our perspective and analysis with the rest. This is not so common with everybody else. Here is a space where we can have the diversity of thought, and this highlights to bring out the best of each one of us. This is a fascinating topic because it complements what we did last time on China. We spoke about the confrontation of both Koreas and Russia. We left it aside because we needed more time. Now it's important to see it because these two strong powers that are going to establish lines of work, and they're going to coincide for a better world, to have non-invasive fuel. And all of every money support comes along with a complex rules and sanctions. I think that this of the only thought of the left. If McCarthy was alive, I would ask him to look to North America and see how a unified thought works. And who doesn't agree, just leave and get ready to have sanctions like what happens to Venezuela, to Cuba. And with that posture, we have the Russia of Vladimir Putin confronts this with a lot of prudence. I think that the Russian diplomatic world has been taught not to interfere in the internal affairs of countries. And they can firstly condemn the coup, then they get along with the president, in this case President Áñez, and they preserve their rights and other topics that could affect them.
Ha permitido internamente a la ex Unión Soviética, lo que fue la Unión
And this has
Soviética,
allowed what the former USSR come out of the hole. After 70 years, everybody speaks of communism, 70 years of ill-treated people, everything that Cuba had to suffer. And I would say the triple and even the fourth.
Sí, sí, desde el año 17, exactamente, con la diferencia que Rusia va a desarrollar internamente todo un aparato
And we're going to see that Russia is developing industrial, technological, scientific fronts. This means that at some point,
poco intercambio que tenía con Occidente o con las potencias que posiblemente podían proveer.
And apparently we're going to be using money today. Today we see a Russia that defends humanity. A Russia that in Syria says this is enough, and that was enough. We see a Russia that does not interfere.
Una Rusia que no solo comercia con nosotros de manera
and we are able to discuss things freely and openly, but we discuss that is very complex. However, we have seen declarations of the Russians, for example, in the support of President Maduro. I think that yes, in fact, it's very important how Russia's opinion does make a difference.
De esa nación árabe, y es la lucha contra el terrorismo que incluso pudiera afectarle al gigante euroasiático en cualquier ocasión.
Sí, cómo no. Sí, es común ya saber,
it's common already
desde aquella reconfiguración del Medio
to see the reconfiguration of the Middle East.
Con Obama y la señora Clinton,
and things changed ever since Obama and Clinton. Then we had some groups that the self-defense groups, the Islamic State, these are paramilitary groups. That is the same expression you see in Hong Kong, and that looks a lot like the Ukrainian case. So all of these movements with very naive groups.
Los estudiantes convocados por redes sociales.
We have the students gather by using internet. Well, this then in this case, Russia will carry them both. And China has a huge coastal border. Without having ultra-territory sea places, it's a country where they have territories all around the world. It has what we foresaw here in Jugada Crítica is happening. For example, I said that there was going to be impeachment against Trump, and this is what we're seeing. So at least we will see how we will not let them become president. Let's say that the impeachment is a stain. And this is not lets you out of the elections, but it does makes you causes you a lot of problems. Well, now I want to see what happens with President Trump. I hope that it happens fast. And now we have a man that is self-centered. And now they had to confront the truth from all of the fronts. I think that image of Putin, a force of strength. We say that we also see that he is respectful of the balance of the world and the rights of the individuals. Now this makes that Russia and China, they are on the horizon of any country that are not favored by the goodwill of the United States. So in Latin America,
forman parte del Consejo de Seguridad de Naciones Unidas.
Are they part of the Security Council? Yes, they are. Yes, this Security Council that many think that there is no reason for existing, and well, at least while it does exist, they should know that
no a Rusia como el perro bravo. Aquí han querido vender en el mundo que Rusia le sale, actúa por reacción. No solo es reactiva la derecha.
It's not only that the right is reactive.
Es la derecha, es la burguesía.
It's the bourgeoisie, the revolution.
No tengo ningún ambaje en decir que
the revolution do have values and they persist.
Cuanto su praxis política no se reacciona.
What happens is that they just react to what's happening. So this is the difference between a country that imposes, like the one of the United States, over another one that reasons and acts according to what he or she thinks it's correct. This is the same teaching that Cuba had
en su presencia en el mundo, la misma posición que ocupa Venezuela, la Bolivia de Evo Morales, el Chile que está en las calles.
We have all of these countries. And we see that all of these countries are awful and nobody is, we're trying to find an economic model here in the world. So I think we have to start this on solid basis. Putin himself in this one, to analyze if he's there, he made a critique of what happened at the United in Russia. He said, well, Russia isn't the Federation. And yes, they speak of constructive thoughts, and the constructive thought goes to criticize yourself, to be really honest, and first hear yourself, and then see your mistakes from the inside.
Y creo que Rusia tiene muy claro su proyecto de país, engrandecer, mejorar las condiciones de vida.
And I think that Putin does have an agenda, is to increase the conditions that will lead to new shoes. Well, now we have this new Russia that is large, and it's necessary to have a balance between the two poles. I'm very proud with the word multipolar because this word has made popular from when Mr. Trump was the one who proposed this song. We are now confronted with a new pattern. They don't want to use the dower power currency. Now this is an imposition. It's a self-proclaimed pattern. It's not even worth the paper that it's printed on. However, it has an alienated power. And these are for people who work in Europe. They work in euros. And what they first do is to change their euros to. This is all of and this has nothing to do with the economic management of. There's nothing that we can do that other countries that impose themselves. So now we have some men who had a work contract.
Nuestras Fuerzas Armadas, porque nos vendieron un sistema de armamento. Bueno, solamente basta que lleguen a Maiquetía y se vayan, ya los rusos nos invadieron y este tipo de cosas. ¿Cómo son los rusos? Son los chinos, son los iraníes.
What would you like? The truth is,
usted me corregirá si no estoy
you
en
can
lo
tell
cierto,
me if I'm not
eso forma
right.
parte de esa
That is
línea
part
de
of that
pensamiento
line of
que ha
thought.
pretendido sembrar el gobierno de Estados Unidos de la búsqueda de un enemigo constantemente.
Él necesita un enemigo necesario.
Yes, well, I think they are a necessary enemy.
Contradicción iniciática les permite elaborar todas esas construcciones que no son de McCarthy solamente, yo creo que son mucho más allá. Ya Bolívar
I think that's not only McCarthy, it's far beyond. Bolivar already said it. The United States is destined by the world to spread the word of liberty. And this is sent as an element of country.
Con la zanahoria del garrote, te acaricio y te doy un garrotazo cada vez que te sales del redil.
When we reorganize,
en todas las tentativas de una guerra mundial, está inserto los Estados Unidos de Norteamérica, el Departamento de Estado,
and here we have several organisms.
Sus amigos muy parecidos a ellos y disfrazados de otra cultura que también los trabajamos tú y yo. Así que,
and here we have another economy that is also worked by other countries. So I am so honored that you allowed me to come and speak. Well, let me tell you, this is two programs left for the rest of the year to end. Well, I would like to tell you happy Merry Christmas. And we know, let's expect that the new agenda, the new world agenda, will bring some peace. So let's have hope that this will be so. A million thanks for being with us. Now let's go to conclusions. Through the path of multilateralism, the Russian Federation is advancing. The Russia of today, the Russia of Putin, and it does it in the hand of China, defying the sanctions of the White House and the threats of NATO, observing the conflicts with calling to dialogue and offering collaboration against terrorism and others. Inside, the Kremlin leader speaks and dialogues with people to try to find solutions within their house. And this is the biggest country in the world and everything that it's doing. This is a force to be reckoned with. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.